Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Professor Barboot. It's an honor to be here. The title of my presentation is Integrating the Whole Production Chain and how upcoming new technologies can help us in that. You already introduced me, so my name is Pieter Brons. I live in the Netherlands. I studied at Wageningen University, agriculture economics and poultry production. And my working life, I've been employed at agricultural software companies. Now I'm working for Poultry Plan, and we supply in a software solution for the complete poultry chain. So it starts with breeding till end product. Integrating the whole production chain. If we look to the current situation in the market, we see that the market is very volatile. So feed prices, they are ongoing high. Energy, since the war in Ukraine, the energy prices have exploded in Europe. Labor, shortage of labor, especially in the poultry houses with the live birds, but also in the processing plants, constructions, what we see. Materials are very expensive. Currently, a lot of production is being moved from Western Europe to Central Europe, Eastern Europe, because of the cost, but also because of less regulations. And we have to deal with avian influenza. So all in all, the poultry producing companies, the integrators, they have a focus on operational excellence. And can we produce? That's a good question and an important question. Because what we see, that is the global agricultural land base has declined since 2007. So it had an increase from the 60s to 2007 with an increase of 400 million hectares agricultural land. But now we see a decline, and it has to do with the growing population worldwide. So we need more space to live, to work. And also in Brazil, it's not so easy to change rainforest into agricultural land. But we need land to feed our animals, because we see there is a big demand for animal protein. And especially in Asia, where the population is growing very fast, we see that the agricultural land base per capita is very low. So the conclusion is, we have to become more urgent, more efficient to produce enough raw materials to feed our animals. Why poultry? If you look at it from technical perspective, you can see here that the feed conversion ratio of poultry is very interesting. It is low, 1.7, especially if you compare it to that of pork, 2.9, or cattle, 6.8. Fish is even lower, 1.1. But if you take the cost of production into account, we see that eggs and chicken is very low. And it has to do with the short production cycle, so we can produce from a day-old chick to a bird which is ready to be slaughtered. We can do that in 42 days. So that is a very short cycle. On top of that, if you look to fish, in this example salmon, it takes very long to harvest salmon. It can take more than 1 year. And most fish which we consume are predators. So we have to feed them with fish meal, and that is very expensive. So all in all, here we can say poultry, that is the winning protein for animal consumption. Also, if you look to the environment, to the carbon footprint, here we see again that poultry is scoring very good. With eggs, 4.8, chicken, 6.9. If you compare that to salmon, 12, pork, 12, or beef, 27. Only vegetables, they have a lower score on the carbon footprint. But here again, poultry has a relatively low impact on the environment. And what is the expectation of the animal protein consumption the coming years? Till 2031. We expect that it will grow with 16%. And if we look to the species, seafood, that will increase with 12%, eggs 22%, beef 8%, pork 9%, and poultry, chicken, 26. So here again, we see that poultry is in favor of many consumers to increase. What we also see is that the supply chains, the poultry supply chains, they are changing. That has to do with the new technologies and also with the higher requirements consumers have on poultry production. If we look to the integrators, we see more consolidation and more internationalization in the whole sector worldwide. These are the results of a survey of consumers, and the question was very simple: why do you like poultry? And the main reason is the taste. And that's a little bit funny, because poultry doesn't have a taste, actually. But the good news is you can prepare it in the way you like, and that is what we call the third reason, the versatility. So you can make it as you like it, and that is one of the main reasons for people to choose for poultry. The other one, that is health-related. Poultry is low in fat, so very healthy. So that are the main reasons why consumers choose to consume poultry. On top of that, poultry doesn't have any religious restrictions. So here again, we can say poultry is the favorable animal protein source. So if we wrap it up, we see a short production cycle, a low feed conversion, relatively low carbon footprint, and the industry is expected to grow with 26%. There are no religious restrictions, so poultry is the absolute winner. But of course, there are challenges. What I already saw, there are higher costs, there is labor shortage, avian flu, increasing requirements on welfare and environment, tracking and tracing, antibiotic control, declining land base, so it is not only gold what we see. So we have to meet these challenges. And how can we do that? I would suggest to start integrating the whole production chain. Here you see a schedule of a production chain. So it starts with rearing, where the birds are reared for becoming the breeding stock, where the hatching eggs are produced. In the hatchery, we produce the day-old chicks, which can go to commercial layer farms or to commercial broiler farms. And after that, the broilers are transported to the slaughterhouse. On top of that, there are other aspects which are important. That is, of course, feed, because feed, that is 80% of the total cost to produce a bird. So feed is very important. So within such a software solution, you can optimize each step, but all these steps are connected with each other, so you can optimize over your whole chain. And that can bring a lot of extra efficiency. And this is our, let's say, our end goal, turning the poultry chain upside down. And normally, if we look to a production chain, it starts at the breeding site. So there, the hatching eggs are produced, which go to a hatchery, they are being set, we produce the day-old chicks, which go to the broiler farms, and after that, after 6 weeks, they go to the processing plant. But if you take the demand side from food processing companies into account, a KFC or the Walmart, and you can say, okay, I'm going to produce exactly what my customer is requesting, then you can produce more efficient. And that is what we mean by turning the poultry chain upside down. Also from fork to farm. Here I have a simple calculation example. So suppose the Walmart will order 1,000 kilograms of fillet. Then we know in 42 days a day-old chick can grow to a bird of 2.5 kilograms. If you take the 22% and the 27 and the 72% slaughter weight and breast yield into account, you can calculate, okay, we need to have 6,313 kilogram of live bird. If you divide it by 2.5, then you need to have 2,525 broilers. Suppose the mortality is 3%. then you can calculate it back. Okay, we need to have 2,603 day-old chicks. So we have to set 3,254 eggs in the setter with a hatchability of 80%. So this is just a very simple example from how you can calculate back what do I need in the chain per step to fulfill the request of our customers. In reality, it is much more complex because it's not only about the fillet. It's about the legs, it's about the wings, the fillet about the legs, etc., etc. So how do you want to cut the birds? And then you have to calculate back in the chain. And here, the new technologies are coming inside. What we now do in our software, that is, we call it chickenology. So that is the knowledge which we have about the whole production chain of poultry. But we can use AI. And do we have experience with that? Yes, we have. Together with Intelia, that is a Canadian company, we are partnering in a project for AI. And that was not a project from fork to farm, but about a prediction of the body weight of the broilers. And there we can see that the AI is giving better results than the chickenology. So the first results, they are hopeful, and we want to do this also from fork to farm to use AI to see what the outcome is. I don't have results right now, but it looks promising. And it also means that the value chain models will change. So if you look to a regular poultry production chain, there is a lot of focus on the growth rates, the feed conversion rate, mortality, yields. So we look at technical and financial indicators. But there is more, and that has to do from the consumer requirements. So also on animal health and welfare is getting more and more important. The environmental impact, the carbon footprint. Europe, the larger companies, it is mandatory to print the carbon footprint on your products which you sell from next year. Tracking and tracing, antibiotic control. So it's more than only have focus on the technical and financial indicators. So you need to have, as a poultry producer, a multidisciplinary view on the production. And here again, we see that the upcoming new technologies can help us in that, with blockchain, smart farming, big data, smart farming collecting a lot of data from the poultry houses to do a better prediction on the body weight of the animals. That is what we already see that is working. So I would say first start to integrate your production chain to produce in the most efficient way, and then do a pilot, start using the new technologies to do the next steps. Here I have some potential gains in efficiency if you integrate your complete chain. So if you improve your hatchability with 2%, that brings $150 for a hatchery with a capacity of 500,000 eggs per week. You can save less percent feed costs through a better production planning. If you know how much feed and what type of feed you need to produce in your feed mill to deliver the feed in time on all the poultry farms, you can save a lot of money in the feed factory, but also on the feed logistics. Less weight through better transport planning brings 200,000 kilograms extra for a processing plant with a capacity of 2,000 broilers per day. If the broilers have to wait too long before they enter the processing plant, they will lose weight, and then you will lose kilograms, and that's a pity. And this one, that's of course an open door, but 2% less empty shackles through better live bird planning, that brings also $250,000 for a processing plant of 200,000 broilers per day. So the efficiency gains, they are evident. The conclusion of my presentation is integrating the whole production chain means tuning the steps between the different stages, and that brings more efficiency. Nowadays, we need to have a multidisciplinary view on production, not only on the technical and financial indicators, but also welfare, environment, quality management, that will become more and more important. And also the value chain models that will change towards new technologies, from intuitive to fact-based decisions. So in steps, start integrating your chain. Use smart farming, sensors, big data, and AI can help you to become more efficient using from fork to farm to produce exactly what your customers are demanding. Thank you very much for your attention. Are there questions?